Hello everyone, good morning, good evening. Welcome to Cloud and DevOps Batch Real-Time Training. Today is session 2 of the Real-Time DevOps with AWS training. So before I proceed, I just want to give a quick recap on what's being covered in the previous session. Previous session, we discussed about the pattern that we are going to follow, because rather than just learning the technology, we'll be implementing the projects first and then we'll be going through. And also in cloud is offered in multiple business models, and one of the business model is infrastructure as a service, another model is platform as a service, and another model is software as a service. So what is the difference between all three versus what is an on-prem is also something we have extensively discussed. Also, apart from that, we also discussed about when to use infrastructure as a service, who uses infrastructure as a service in training, which service are we going to use, and also I have given you some classic examples of what is software as a service. They're not directly related to DevOps, but whenever you're joining any calls or whenever you're talking to someone, when you're discussing any product, this is how they discuss. Okay, that's the reason we need to refer the cloud business models, and we should be well aware of it. And typically it is also referred as a shared responsibility model. Also, we discussed about how AWS started this cloud business, what made them to think about cloud business models by giving infrastructure as a service. They first started with pay as you go mode by offering infrastructure as a service. And then what is Linux? Okay, so is also something we discussed. We also discussed about what is an open source. What is an open source? So open source is something we discussed. Okay, and in that, okay, graphical user interface and command line interface. Okay, we are also discussed about it, and who we discussed about the licensing pattern of Windows, so versus user-based licensing versus subscription-based licensing is also something we discussed. And we discussed about what is a license versus what is a description, and what are the fundamental things that needs to be noted when you are discussing about open source. So what exactly is an open source is also something we discussed. So Microsoft also has a command line interface, CLI based operating system, which is called a DOS, which is not an active operating system at this point of time, but there are still old legacy projects that are running on DOS. Okay, I also discussed about Linux is the operating system that 99.99% of the world uses. Okay, and in that Debian and Red Hat are top use, and subscription, and both in any flavor of the Linux go by subscription based. Okay, we also discussed about subscription, and it's not based on the number of users, while Windows operating system is based on the number of users. All right, and we also discussed about, okay, if you want to start this training, what are all the things that need to be having as a part of this is also something we discussed. All right, that is something I would like to discuss. So before we proceed, I would like to talk about, okay, so let's try to understand where and all AWS is operating. Let's try to understand it. This is very, very important. Where and all AWS is operating. Okay, so AWS is operating in almost 32 plus regions. What is a region? Let me talk about it. This is very, 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 very important. AWS global infrastructure map. AWS global infrastructure. Okay, that means AWS is operating globally. Okay, we need to understand where and all regions it is operating. First of all, what is a region? What is a zone? Is also something we need to understand very, very clearly. Does this mean AWS is operating in 33 countries out of 195 countries? No. Then what is the region? Let's discuss about it thoroughly. Okay. So when I started my career in 2013-14 in cloud, I saw 4 or 5 regions, including North Virginia. But right now, in last batch, I could see last batch I started in February second week. There I could see 32 regions. Now it's 33. Every time you see in a year, they just keep on expanding their business. Okay, for example, if you see this, these and all the places where Amazon is operating across the world, and wherever you see the green color balls, that means AWS is operating. Okay, it's been launched from a very long time. Wherever you see red color, that means they are in the process of building. I think last time when I started this Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we have not seen it. Now it's there. So last time Melbourne is there, Sydney is not there. Okay, and last time in the Cape Town of Africa, we don't see that it was operating. I think it's launched 4 years back. And if you come here and if you see this, they started this in Melbourne 2023. And if you look at this, they started in 2012. And also earlier we used to have in Mumbai 2016. I think in 2022 or 23 they have launched in Hyderabad. Okay, so that means across the world, based on where you are doing your business, you can create the infrastructure in any place. Among all, if you look at this, North Virginia. Okay, so this is the place. Where is North Virginia? North Virginia. So Amazon has started its operations in 2006, and Amazon is the first cloud player which has started its offering in 2012, 2006. Okay, and AWS has the first market advantage till 2013-14. From almost 8 to 9 years, there is no competitor. There is no one in the market in the space of cloud. When I say cloud, it's just AWS. Even Azure is not there. Google Cloud is not there. Google Cloud is something they came late into the industry, though they are offering cloud as a service in the form of Gmail, Maps, YouTube, but they haven't offered it at the cloud infrastructure layer. Okay, so that's the reason AWS has a first market advantage, and at the same time they have huge customer base, because I have given you an example saying why Nike has a very huge reputation because of the service they support. Even in the space of Linux, okay, Red Hat offers the best supports, and in the cloud, AWS has a very good reputation of offering its infrastructure support to the core. So you can create your infrastructure in any of the places of your choice. Okay, that doesn't mean two servers you will create in India, two servers you will create in States, two servers you will create in Africa. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. And if you look at this, there are also some clouds, AWS Government Cloud in East and AWS Government Cloud AWS Government Cloud in 2011. That's the power of AWS. Even the United States government and all the government agencies and all the government companies in states host their infrastructure in AWS Cloud in certain regions. And these regions, okay, they name it as AWS Government Cloud West and AWS Government Cloud East. You don't have access, but Amazon offers the services to the government agencies as well. For example, you take state DL, you take any state related things of the United States, they are also using. That is the level of security that Amazon is offering. Okay, and if you look at this, okay, there is also another thing, Germany. Okay, in Germany they do not have it, but they are starting soon. Okay, and even here Taiwan, it's not there in the past. Even now it's not there. Thailand, it's not there. Well, I think Singapore it's there, but in Malaysia it's not there. So, and you can also see here in the Mexico, they are also starting their operation soon. So that means AWS is exponentially expanding their infrastructure across the world. Okay, Manoj, there are a lot of regions that Amazon is offering their infrastructure. Where do I need to choose? Where do I need to choose? Let's try to understand. Okay, for example, let's talk about Mumbai region. Okay, let's assume Mumbai region. let's assume we are having 3 applications that are running on 3 physical servers, and a cart application is running on the top of here, and payment is running here, and catalog is running here. Okay, fine. And people across the people across the states, whoever wants to buy something, since their application is running, all the components of the application are running in 3 different servers, their business works. Because of some XYZ reason, if you lose the payment server, people who want to do the shopping, they can still see the items that are available in the catalog, and they should be able to add it to the catalog. But if they wish to make the payment, will it work? Assume that the server is down because of some XYZ reason. What will happen? Anyone? Will be people be able to make payments? Anyone? Anyone? Are people able to make the payments? Anyone? 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 Check, check. Are people still able to make the payments if this application is down, if the server is down, where your payment application is running? Anyone?
No, they can't.
No.
They cannot.
No.
Obviously, they cannot. Okay. Back in days, the entire application used to run in a single server. There is an old style of running the applications. Now, the features of the applications are cut down into pieces, and they're developed independently, and they're running independently. And those are called as a distributed applications. And those are something we are going to learn to the core in this training. All right. Now, what will happen if the payment is down? You cannot make the payment, right? It's very, very important. For example, whenever have you ever seen have you ever seen any Google product down, like Gmail or your YouTube or AWS service or Gmail, anything down for any type of moment? No.
No.
So the availability that the provider like Google, YouTube, Maps offers is very, very important. For example, Google offers Google Maps as a service to food delivery partners like Swiggy, Zomato, and there also offers Google Maps as a service for Uber, Ola when they want to establish communication with the customer, or if customer wants to book a cab. So Google Maps in the backend they're offering as a service. For example, because of some XYZ reason, Google Map service was down for 30 minutes. What? Okay, during the lunchtime, like 12 to 1 hour, it's down. So how much? Okay, if Google Maps was down for 1 hour, how much amount of loss to Swiggy and Zomato? How much amount of money would be lost for Ola and Uber? And how much revenue that Google is going to lose because if it is down? Agree? So that means each and every second of availability that they offer is very important, very, very important. Let's take YouTube. If YouTube is down for 30 minutes, don't think that you cannot see YouTube just for 30 minutes. YouTube is going to lose millions of dollars of ad revenue. That's the reason each and every second of uptime is available. Each and every second of availability is very much important to the applications, and that's the reason whenever you buy any product from Google or whenever you buy a product from any provider, they'll offer you a service level agreement of the uptime, saying that, hey, my product is 99.9% uptime, my product is 99.99% uptime. That means if someone says my product is 99.9% available, that means in a month, a maximum of 45 minutes, this application can be down. That means if you are buying a product from someone who commit you saying the product is available for 99.99%, that means they are promising you saying that the availability of the product, whatever the situation it may be, whether the server is down or data center is down or electricity failure or power failure or network failure, doesn't matter. This is the promised amount. If someone says 99.9% up, that means in a month, the application can go down a maximum of 43 minutes overall. That means if someone commits to 99.99% up, that means in a month, an application can go down a maximum of 4 minutes, 21 seconds. And they also refer it as a 3 nines, 4 nines, 5 nines. Okay, if someone says the availability is okay 99.99%, it is also referred as 5 nines. It means this application can be down for a maximum of 20 seconds, not beyond that. Okay, now you can understand the importance of designing the infrastructure. It's not just learning the tool, creating a server, okay, creating Terraform, creating Kubernetes. No, it's understanding the business, it's understanding the ecosystem, understanding what customer wants. Based on that, you need to design the system. All right, that means every 9, if you want to increase, it's going to cost you a lot. For example, you are going to build an infrastructure that is offering you 99.95% up. That means you can commit a maximum of 21 minutes 44 seconds downtime. For example, you are using Gmail, and Gmail is also offered for commercial edition. For example, you take a company called as X, and if X is using Gmail as their mailing service, and if Google, because of some mistake, and if they say that Gmail is available for 99.999% off, and because of any reason, if Google keeps the Gmail application for 1 or 2 hour time, Google has to pay penalty because you told that your product is 99.99% off, and that's the reason I bought the product from you. Now you're not offering, you need to pay. Okay, that is the reason the way how you design the infrastructure is matters a lot. All right, you can even ask Gmail uptime SLA. Okay, so Google will be at least 99.9% in any calendar month. Okay, for example, if you come here and if you say Outlook or Hotmail, okay, Hotmail is Microsoft's mail, and if you come here and if you say, they say they didn't give any uptime. That's interesting. What is the 99%? They're also having, it's 99.9% up. Okay, so there is a database called as Google Cloud Spanner. They offer 5 nines of availability, SLA availability. Okay, this is a database, okay, on Google Cloud. Can you see this? This is one of the database in Google Cloud which offers 99.999% availability. That means this database technically it never goes down. That means in a month it can go to a maximum of 26 seconds down. That means you just take a blink of your eye for 5 seconds. That's it. Okay, but I'll ask you one thing. If the product availability is more, which product would be costly? 99.9% or 99.99% or 99.99%? Which one would be costly? Anyone? Which one would be costly? Anyone? Anyone?
The
Anyone?
third one.
Obvious.
Full downtime is very
Nine.
less.
Exactly. The more availability that you offer, more cost for the underlying infrastructure would be coming up. You need to remember this point, why I'm saying this. Now, I need to design one more thing. Okay. These are all the design principles. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to design an infrastructure in such a way, even if one region is down, the application should work. Okay. Now, like this, there are a lot of applications that are running in this region because of some XYZ reason, not just Flipkart. Okay. Let's assume Flipkart, okay, Myntra, Swiggy, Zomato, all these e-commerce websites are running on this region because of some XYZ reason. Okay. Because of some XYZ reason, they lost this zone. What will happen to all the customers whose applications are running on this region? What will happen? Not just Flipkart.com, Swiggy.com, Google.com. Okay, take a lot of applications are there, right? Paytm.com, everything are running on this Mumbai region because of some XYZ reason. Okay, or let's assume because of the natural calamity, you lose this entire data center. What will happen to all the customers and the applications that are running on this particular region? Anyone? 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 What will happen to all the applications that are running here?
Not work.
Everything will be down, which will be huge loss to the company. And that's the reason this is now it's going to be designed. If you say Mumbai region, it's not a single location. Okay, you need to be very clear on it. Okay, let me tell you that. So technically, this is not how infrastructure is going to be created. Okay, so how it is going to be designed is, so it is going to be designed in a fault tolerant. Okay, so in training, we are going to design fault tolerant infrastructure. Okay, so that means the application should work even in case of any external faults. So to avoid this one-time failures, how companies, all the cloud providers have designed is in the form of zones. This is one zone. Zone, assume the zone is like a data center. Region, is a physical location. Okay, zone is a location where your infrastructure will actually run. Okay, your region is just a geographical location. That's it. All right. So each and every region, they refer it as one particular name. For example, AP South 1. Okay, each and every region, Amazon has named it as AP South 1, which is nothing but Asia Pacific South 1. Okay, why AP South 1? That's just a name. Okay, Asia Pacific, and in the Asia Pacific, we are in the uh, AWS. Okay, and this all region is referred as Asia Pacific, and people also referred as APAC. Okay, so come here, and since this is all Asia Pacific, and in this we are in the south side, and that's the reason they call it as a south. All right, now in Mumbai region, Amazon chooses 3 different places, and they refer it as a zone 1A. Okay, all 3 of them are can be miles apart, zone 1A and zone 1B. Okay, zone 1A. Okay, so one is zone 1A, and another is zone 1B, and another is zone 1C. All right, fine. So these are the physical locations which are separated from each other, but all of them will having very high speed internet connection between them. Okay, they are going to have very high speed internet between them. All right. All right. So the zones that are present between these two would be almost miles apart. So even the disaster happens even in this place, these two still operate. Even a disaster happens here, applications still run. So in this kind of place, let's assume your applications are running, okay, here. Okay, let's assume in zone 1 day, let's assume flipkart.com is there and you're running all your applications here. Let's assume, okay, you are running your payment application here. Understand carefully. Okay, from the beginning I'm telling it's not just training. Okay, we are making sure we design things in a real-time design pattern based approach. Okay, let's assume you're having a payment based application that is running here. Okay, and even here flipkart.com cart application is running here and the catalog application is running here.
This is one data center.
Yes, let's assume yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, now I'm going to represent each of them in a different color. Pink. Now in this case, okay, now in this case what will happen? So because of some XYZ reason, even in this case if you lose the region, okay, the customers who are running their applications in this particular data center or the zone are going to be impacted, but still it's not like the entire Mumbai region is impacted, but still the applications who are running in this particular zone are impacted. right? That is the reason. So this application is not fault tolerant. What is fault tolerant? Fault tolerant. So people typically, okay, in interviews, they ask you, how do you build a fault tolerant infrastructure that is tolerant to failure of one zone or two zones? Okay. Okay. Fault tolerant is nothing but, okay, tolerance towards fault. What is fault tolerance? Okay. Fault is nothing but an issue. Okay. And fault is nothing but some bug or some issue. Okay. You refer, what is a fault, by the way? What is a fault? So fault, an unsatisfactory feature. You're expecting something that didn't happen. That's because of a fault. So because of some XYZ reason, you lose this data center zone 1A. What will happen to the applications that are running of your Flipkart? Obviously they fail. Since you are making a lot of money, you are going to design the infrastructure in a fault tolerant way. So that's the reason what we are going to do is we are going to run 2 copies of infrastructure. Okay, guys, listen carefully. The reason I'm telling all this is we are going to build infrastructure keeping these lines in mind. Okay, I want everyone to focus more. So next few sessions are going to be like this. Okay, let's assume 3 zones, and out of 3 zones, since I make a lot of money out of this, what I would like to do is I would like to run. Okay. Okay, let's assume now you're running payment 2 greens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's assume you're running your infrastructure like this. Okay, let's assume because of some XYZ reason, you're running 2 instances of payment, 2 instances of cart, okay, and also 2 instances of catalog. Now, here in this case, because of some XYZ reason, okay, remember this, because of some XYZ reason, you lose this entire zone. You lose this entire zone. Now, what will happen to the application flipkart.com? Will it still work? How many of you say yes and how many of you say no? In this case, is fault tolerant? Okay, I'll answer that question.
It
So
will
will
work.
this application will still
Yes,
work
it
or
will
not?
work.
Anyone? I'll
Will
just
work.
send a poll. Okay, I'm gonna send a poll. In this case, is application still operate? How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? Anyone? Will application still work or no?
Yes,
Still
it will
work.
work.
Okay.
Where we can see the poll? I'm not able to see that.
Oh, you didn't get that?
No,
No.
we did not get that.
All
Yesterday
right.
as well, it was showing.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't send, honestly speaking. I just sent a question. Polls. Not question. Poll. Okay. So will the application still work? Required. Uh, okay. That's it. Save as webinar poll. Now you should be getting it. How many of you say? Now everyone would have got. Will application will work in this? I'm expecting 100% output. I'm expecting 100% response. In this situation, will the application work or not? So guys, let's try to be more interactive. The more you speak, the more I teach. Okay. So please ensure you respond back. So I could see by default mute and unmute option is disabled. Yes, Gopal, that is by design. So if you wanna talk, just raise your hand. I'm gonna give you an option. Okay, this is just to ensure that parallel talking is restricted, because end of the day, we all go through the recordings as well to ensure the quality. You have a chat option, you have a talk option. If you wanna talk, raise your hand. I'll give you an option to talk immediately. Okay. The moment you raise your hand, I'll get a pop-up. All right. So the results are quite interesting. So people's 86%, that means 90% of the people responded the application will work. This is quite interesting. Yes, because there are 2 more instances that are running. Now, that means this application, okay, application is tolerant to one zone failure. Okay, because earlier you are just running 3 instances, now you are running 6 instances. Now what will happen, because of again one more reason, you lose 2 zones at a time because of natural calamity or network issue, both because of some bad issues. Okay, all of them were down at a time. Now what will happen? Now will the application still work or not?
It will work, but payment will
It
not
will
happen.
work, payment will not work.
Exactly. That means this is not tolerant to 2 zones failure. If it has to work, even if 2 zones fail, all you need to do is you need to run one more instance of it everywhere. Let's assume I don't know why this copy paste is not working. All right, let's take this. Now in this situation, okay, in this situation, situation. Okay, now in this situation, if you lose 2 zones, will your application still work or not? Again, I'm gonna send the poll one more time. In this case, will it work or not?
So again, you added cart instead of.
Yeah. So added cart. No, it's a payment. That's a good observation. Good. That's a very good sign. Yeah. So in this case, what will happen? So in
Application
this
will
case,
work.
again, I have sent a poll. So this time, in this case, will it work or not? I got 100% response. This is seamless, guys. This is really good. Okay. So yeah, this application will work, but this application is tolerant to 2 zone failure. So which one is costly? First one or second one? Application is
Second
tolerant
one.
to 2 zone failure. Okay. Now again, I'll ask you one more question. What will happen if the entire region is failure? Then you need to create the one more set of infrastructure in Hyderabad. Okay, the same set of infrastructure you need to create one more in Hyderabad, and that infrastructure is tolerant to regional failure. Again, you need to run 6 instances of cart, 6 instances of catalog, 6 instances of pay. So the amount of availability that you are expecting, okay, the cost for that would also increase. Okay, so and that's the reason they are not referred as zones. Okay, logically they are referred as a availability zone. Okay, and that's the reason I would like to discuss about region versus availability zone. That's the difference between it. Okay, you should be very clear. Okay, so This is very important whenever you're talking to business, whenever you're designing something, whenever you're buying any product. Okay, when you're talking to the end user, these are the terminology that you need to use. Okay, that's the difference between a person who really worked versus who just learned. Okay, I would like to make sure we talk more and more around these aspects. All right, now we learned about region versus zone, right? What exactly the other thing? AWS has huge offering. Okay, region, zone. You also have something called as wavelength zone. Okay, this wavelength zone is something that is recently introduced. Okay, what is this wavelength zone? Let's even discuss about it. What is this wavelength zone? Okay, again, you don't get an opportunity to work on this. Okay, but it's always essential. If some cranky guy is taking your interview, he tried to ask you something, he want to prove that he know better than you, they'll ask you a lot of nonsense. Okay, and this again coming back, there are 33 regions in AWS, and out of which 105 availability zones. Now who determines how many availability zones? Okay, who determines how many available, who determines the zones count? Who determines the number of zones per region? Okay, so minimum 3 zones per region would be there. Okay, so minimum 3 zones per region. Okay, I'm referring it as a zone, but typically it's referred as an availability zone. All right, now if you look at this, there are 33 regions, and out of which 105 availability zones are there. And out of these 105 availability zones, it's not just like there is a standard number. No, for example, AWS has launched its business in North Virginia. So when Amazon wants to roll out any new feature, they start with North Virginia typically. And this zone has 6 zones. That means 6 physical locations their infrastructure is spread. And when compared to the other regions, okay, the cost that is offered in the North Virginia is very less. And that's also the reason during our training, we create most of our infrastructure in North Virginia. But in business, who determines? You're working for a US based company from India. Who determines whether the infrastructure has to be created for their business in India or in states? Okay, for example, you're working from Australia for an Australian based company. Are you supposed to create the infrastructure in states? Who determines that? Let me talk about. Okay, now who determines the number of zones per region? You take any region, 99.9% of the times minimum 3 zones would be there. But this North Virginia is so big there, and in states there are a lot of IT companies that need servers, infrastructure, cloud. They started offering more here. Okay, you take Sydney, they have 3 zones. You take Melbourne, they have 3 zones. You take Cape Town, they have 3 zones. You take San Paulo, they have 3 zones. You take Government Cloud, 3 zones. Minimum 3 will be there. Okay, based on business, how big they are. Okay, so minimum 3 and maximum 6 are available. Very soon, for example, during Black Friday, okay, during Black Friday and Christmas, during the sale, whenever you want to create a lot of infrastructure in North Virginia, they say we are overloaded, we cannot offer more servers. You also see the such messages, particularly for the free tier accounts. So in batch number 56, that's during Christmas, whenever our students were practicing during that 2 to 3 days of time, their servers were not provisioned during the practice. The reason was Amazon is experiencing huge demand there. Huge demand there. So whenever Amazon experiences that, okay, it's time to upgrade, what they do is they'll create one more region, not region, one more zone there. Okay, now you can ask me why in Melbourne, in Australia, India, Africa, there are 1 or 2. Why in states there are these many? Because there are a lot of software companies, okay, a lot of IT requirements there in states, and that's the reason you see these many. Okay, there are some countries where Amazon is not operating. For example, if you take this part, Amazon is not operating here. Okay, so that is one thing. Now, what exactly is this local zone and what exactly is this wavelength zone? These are the new terminologies, okay, that were introduced. Okay, let me also talk about it. And these wavelength zone and local zone are not available across the board, only in United States. So for example, you all know, right? the infrastructure used by the telecom operator like Verizon or Geo or AT&T or T-Mobile, it's very, very high because they have to have their presence across the states, across the country, right? So, and also the infrastructure used by the telecom companies itself is different. And for every company like cloud, for every cloud provider, telecom companies are huge revenue for them, huge. If some telecom provider goes and says, I want this kind of infrastructure, Amazon builds because they are very big customers to the cloud provider. So what they did was, so when the telecom providers approached, we want this kind of infrastructure, do you offer cloud it as a service? Then Amazon realized it is a very good spot. They started offering they started building infrastructure zones, and they referred them as a wavelength zones. In these particular zones, you only see the infrastructure that is related to the telecom companies, and these are something you cannot use, you and me cannot use. Only the telecom companies who signed up, I want this infrastructure related to the telephone network, only for them they would be seeing. Again, for telecom, the network infrastructure is completely different, right? They need very fast and very less latency applications which would be running, which would be costly, which is not needed for every customer, which is only needed by telephone companies or any networking based companies. They would be using it, and that is called as a wavelength zone. It is introduced just 2 or 3 years back. All right, then what is this local zone? What is this local zone? For example, okay, you are running a business here. Okay, Amazon knows. Okay, so for example, there is a location where there are a lot of Target. Okay, lot of companies are there. Lot of companies, lot of Walmart locations, Targets, lot of retail customers. Lot of people are using infrastructure there. That means assume it like a downtown, or assume it like a commercial space. Commercial space. Now, applications that are running in the commercial space, they expect very quick responses. And for example, if the applications that are running in the, for example, assume it like a commercial space. Commercial space, companies like Walmart, Target, lot of money making companies which are huge asset to the cloud provider are here. And let's assume Amazon is offering its data center or the zone here, zone 1. And since there are a lot of applications, lot of customers here, all the applications, if they want something, some information or something, every time they have to go here and they have to come back, right? So the latency is very, very high. What Amazon thought was, wherever they found hotspots of where they're having huge applications, okay, near to that customer space, they started running a location called as a local zone, which is very close to the proximity, which is again an availability zone, but only specific to the customers. You can say, I want my infrastructure should be hosted on a local zone which is close to my commercial complex. So earlier, if you're getting 1 second response, in this case, you just get it in less than 10 seconds, because as I mentioned, every second matters. For example, you go to a store and you're scanning a product, and every time you scan, if it is taking 1 second of time to load the product, what if you buy 100 products? Just to scan, you need to do 3 minutes. What if you're having thousands of customers? So every second how it responds also matters. And this wavelength zone and local zone are not for everyone. So if you want to use this local zone, you need to register. I'll be showing you, but there is no big difference for you. Wavelength zone is strictly for the telecom and network provider, not for everyone. So I answered most of the questions, but who determines, okay, where my infrastructure to be hosted? Who determines where my
So Manoj, local zones are also like
sorry,
fault
come again,
tolerance.
Sumit, come again.
Yeah, so this local zones are also fault tolerance.
Yeah.
enabled?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're right. Obviously, they are also fault tolerant. All right. Perfect. Okay. Going back, who determines where my infrastructure has to be hosted? So Manoj, I could see across the board in the United States, India, a lot of places, infrastructure is there. For example, if I'm working for a company, how company determines, for example, it is a India-based company. Who determines where the infrastructure is supposed to be hosted? I told you in North Virginia, infrastructure is cheap. It doesn't mean that we are going to create our infrastructure here. What will happen if you create your, so for example, your customers are in India. Let's assume yours is a Indian based company, e-commerce company. Okay. And your customers are across this. Okay. You're in India. Now, if you're creating your servers in states, if customer wants to buy something, all the requests will go here. And again, from here, they come back. Don't you think latency would be there? Agree?
Yes.
That is
Yes.
very important, and this is a pivotal point. Second thing, okay. So if you are working for India, okay, for example, if you are working for a country, European Union, the data of the customers is supposed to be saved on the top of that particular region itself. You cannot save the customer data of one country in another country. Each and every country has their own law of the land. Okay, who determines? Okay, let me show you that. Irrespective of the cost. Okay, this is very important. Based on where your customers are located. And you're using IT just because you're making money. That's the idea behind it, right? Okay. Based on where your customers are located. Okay. Based on where your customers are located. Second thing, based on the law of the land and data policies. This is very important. These two are something that determines, okay, as per the law of the land, you should always store your data in the region as per the country data policy. All right. Clear? So these are the factors that determines. All right, guys. Any questions? But in training, which region are we going to use? In training, which region are we going to use? Okay. In training, which region are we going to use? And in training, we are going to use in training, which region are we going to use? Okay, we are going to use North Virginia and all the images, okay, operating system images, everything I'll keep it on North Virginia. We will be using North Virginia as we are all learners and cost is effective there. And second thing, we keep all the needed images. All right. Second thing, Manoj, you told me AWS offers free account. Is it really free? Let's talk about it. So where are we going to learn? Okay, how are we going to learn AWS Cloud? How are we going to learn AWS Cloud? How are we going to learn AWS Cloud? This is very important. Okay, AWS offers free tier account. We are going to leverage that. AWS offers a free tier account. We are going to use it. See, again, I'm from the beginning, I'm challenging you guys, saying this is a 100% real-time and project-oriented training. It also means we are going to use a lot of services that Amazon is not going to offer you for free. That means you should be ready to pay minimum. If you're really learning, okay, you would get a bill of minimum 700 to 1000 per month. So that means for the next 3 months, you should be ready to pay minimum 1000. Okay. And we'll also make sure in the month 1 or month 2, we can reach out to Amazon saying we are learning. So since you are a learner, Amazon is very good at it. They might offer you a waiver as well. Okay. So AWS offers you a free tier account and we are going to use it. Not everything is free, but account is free. All right. We will almost learn 15 plus services on AWS. What is a service in AWS? Again, we'll talk about it soon. Okay. So Amazon offers 200 plus services. It doesn't mean that we need to learn all the 200 services because AWS offers satellite service for satellites. It uses network service for networking companies. So we are going to learn AWS cloud and DevOps like a cloud and DevOps engineer, keeping the real-time job aspects in mind. And second thing, okay, so from tomorrow, we'll create servers and we'll learn everything on the top of it. Okay, so we are going to create servers on AWS and we are going to use it there. All right, that's the plan. Now to create a free tier account on AWS, what are needed? Okay, to create AWS account, what are all needed? To create AWS account, what? Okay. Okay, all you need is just an email address, credit card or debit card, a valid credit or debit card, preferably credit card. Okay, so these are the two things that are needed. And AWS and 2 rupees or $1 would be deducted to validate that you are a human user. Okay, and if you say I do not have a credit card debit card, I cannot help you. Okay, because if someone says I do not have a credit card and debit card, that I also assume that you don't have a computer. Okay, if you don't have a credit card or debit card, just at least reach your friends or family members or colleagues or anyone. And in last batch, I told someone to create an account there. Someone has asked me, can you share your credit card or debit card? I'm going to pay the bill. Again, I'm also a person like you, and sharing credit card and debit card is really not good. So I'm not going to share my details. Okay, that is one thing. So I know 99% of the people don't ask, but even if you ask, excuse me for that. Okay, so these are the three things that are needed to create an AWS account. So if you have an AWS account, okay, I'll show you how to create an account for free. All you need to do is just say AWS free tier. Just go and search in the internet and just say AWS free tier account. All you need to do is just come here and select this. Okay, so AWS Amazon Web Services. That means Amazon offers everything as a service through the internet. That's the full form of Amazon Web Services meaning. So why service? Okay, Amazon offers database as a service, server as a service, platform as a service, email as a service, okay, message as a service. So that's the reason, based on what you want, you just need to use that particular service. So as a part of the free tier, okay, Amazon is going to offer the free tier for 1 year. Okay, that doesn't mean everything is free. Okay, the account is free lifetime. Okay, but there are a lot of options, and among all, compute. So you can use first 750 hours of an EC2 instance, which is nothing but a server for free. Either you can use T2 micro or T3 micro type. Okay, so Amazon has named certain combination of CPU plus memory with an instance name. If you have two CPU and one memory, we refer it as 2 micro. If you have one CPU and one memory, we call it as a T1 micro. Like that, for each and every CPU plus memory combination, Amazon has given a name. And out of that, Amazon is offering you T2 micro or T3 micro for free for you for 750 hours. That means if you take one server and run 30 days, still you would be getting free. But in our training, we are going to deal projects with 12 servers, including high availability 24 servers. So obviously you will be running out of limit very soon. And that's the reason I told this training is extensively hands-on. And 5 GB of storage and 750 hours of database. And there are some limitations and conditions, but if you follow whatever I'm going to mention, you end up consuming, you end up paying less. So again, I saw a question EC2. Don't worry on it. That is just the name of the service. I told you infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, right? EC2 is one among them, which offers servers as a service. I'll talk everything tomorrow in detail. All right. So I would like to create an account. All you need to do is come here and just need to say console.aws account. Okay. You can say I do not have an account. Create a new AWS account. Okay, you need to give your username, which is nothing but an email, and account name. Account name can be anything. So for example, B58 real-time training, real-time DevOps. This is my account name. In organizations, for example, you're having, if yours is a network-based company, they say abc.mobile, def.mobile, like that each and every AWS account will have a name. Now we need to select the verify email address. You will get a one-time email address. Okay, so everyone, today you guys are going to receive a GitHub link. Okay, I also request everyone to create a GitHub account. Tomorrow we'll demonstrate how to create a GitHub account. So every day after the session, you really don't have to wait on me. All you have to do is, okay, the link that I'm going to share today along with the training. Okay, all you have to do is, okay, just come here. Okay, so this link you will get it. So after the training, you really don't have to wait on me. All you need to do is just copy this link which is available and paste it here. All the session recordings that are going to happen till the end of the training, everything are going to be hosted on the top of this place. Everything will be coming in a serial order. All right, guys.
Also, this training notes.
That's a very good point. And whatever I am discussing on the top of this board, this is called as a Miro board, that is also available on the top of the same link. You copy this, okay, and paste it here. Everyone who is watching the session has access to it. Okay, so this training, we made sure things are deliberately easy. So we try to organize things in a very simplest and easiest possible approach. That's the agenda behind it. All right. So today after the training, you'll get this link. All right. So here I also mentioned how to create an AWS account. Come here and select this. This is how you can create an AWS account. Since I already have an AWS account, I don't go through. All you need to do is just create a free tier account. And AWS offers 3 types of accounts. I'll talk about it. So you need to enter your email address, which is a real email address, and enter your name, verify your email address. Then you will get a one-time password that you need to enter. And then you need to enter that, and then it asks you configure your username and password. You need to configure a username and password. Root is nothing but, in Windows, we use admin as the most powerful user, right? In the Linux world, we refer it as a root. Okay, we don't call it as an admin, we call it as a root. As I mentioned, 99% of the world's global infrastructure is on the top of AWS, not AWS, is on the top of Linux. That's the reason majority of the terminology that you hear would be based on the Linux. Okay, root is like an admin on Windows. Root is a Linux super user. Now continue, and once you continue,
So
you
we
just need
have
to
to
enter
create
your.
root user.
Sorry?
So we have to create a root user or
No, you are going to create a user account, which is your email address, and the password for that is the root your password. That's it. Okay, so root user is
Okay.
nothing but your email address is a root user. Simple. Okay, in my
Okay.
case, okay, trainer.manu DevOps with AWS is my root user, root email address. Can you see this root user email address? What you're doing is root user password. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
So which one we need to set, business or personal one?
Always choose personal. Okay,
Personal.
I'll show you. Okay, come here and then enter your username and password. Okay, after that enter your personal information, your name, your cell phone number, your details. Okay, after entering the credit card information, all you need to do is just enter the credit card expiry details, your name and your CVV, and just mention proceed
The most
without a
of
PAN card. Okay, never proceed without. Okay, do not proceed you saying that you have a PAN card. Just say don't share the details, and then just say sign up. And then AWS offers three types of plans. In enterprise, okay, your companies would be choosing this plan. Okay, that means where your company have to pay $100 per month for the Amazon to offer you the support. However, it is nothing for them. But in our case, we are not going to go with pre paid support. So the only difference is here you will get suggestions, insights from the technical community and round the clock email support. And whenever you raise any case with Amazon, within 1 hour, they'll respond you back. Okay, so this is for the enterprise, but you will also see companies, for example, you take startup companies or people who are interested, developers, they develop something and they contribute, right? They go by a developer plan. It is just for experimenting and you will be having email support. Okay, and within 12 hours, they are going to respond. But for free tier accounts, you are not going to get any technical support from Amazon. For example, if your server is not working or if you want to know something, so Amazon is not going to support you because yours is a basic free support plan. And I recommend everyone to go with this basic free support plan only, because in your case I am there to help you whatever is needed. Okay, so I may please make you go with the basic support free plan only, because I am there to help you because it is free. All right, and once it is done, you just need to complete sign up, and then you'll get an email saying that your account you have successfully signed up. And if you use a credit card, typically it takes just 5 minutes to 1 hour of time to activate. If you're using a debit card, the validation takes some time. It will take less than 24 hours to activate. That's it. Yeah, your account is activated successfully. Okay, and this document is also available in the same AWS account creation procedure. I request every one of you to have a account created. Okay, clear? And once you create an account, this is how you can easily sign up. Okay, so this is my email address, and then I enter the password and I just signed in. Okay, this is how it looks like. Okay, this is Amazon Web Services page, and in the top right corner you have an option called as North Virginia, right? In my case, my account name is Learn Cloud, and this is the account number. Okay, each and every account that is created will have a 12-digit account ID, and this the Learn Cloud, okay, which is nothing but an alias name. Okay, since names are numbers are something tough to remember, you can also create an alias name for it. Okay, and that's the reason I told you create a name of your choice. Okay, and here in the top right corner you have an option, right? Can you see this? Okay, so this is the place where you can select where the infrastructure can be created. If you want the infrastructure to be created in Canada, all you need to say is just select Canada. Whatever the infrastructure that you are going to create will be created on the top of Canada. Okay, but in training, we are going to create it in US East 1. Okay, because that is quite heavily used, and at the same time, we'll get for lesser billing. All right. That's it. I have activated my AWS free tier account last year. Will you suggest me to use? Ashish, I recommend you to close the account and create a brand new one, because you created it last year. You would have run out of the credits. I highly recommend you to create a brand new account. Okay, just create one email address. That's all, man. Okay. Any question?
Manoj,
Yeah. Hi.
actually, I have the account, but that is IAM account because I am trying to create the root user. by my email ID, and even I was creating new email also. It is not accepting due to some reason. I'm not able to create
Okay.
them.
Ask your friends to create and use the credentials. Simple. They use email tracking. Okay. So use your friends to create an email address from you, not from your computer and from your account. Ask them to create somewhere and share them credentials and use it. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe because of some activity, Amazon would have blocked your IP address. That might be mischievous to you, but you never know, right? Internet, a lot of things might happen. I recommend you ask your friends to create an account for you. Since it is a free tier account, there's no compliance issue,
So it
then you can
should
use
be
it.
root user only, whatever
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
should
Your
have.
email
Okay.
address. That's it, Monica.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any questions, anyone? And again, guys, tomorrow also session starts the same time, 6 a.m. IST or 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Session timings remain the same till the end of the training. And that's what I have for today. If you have any questions, I'm good to take up the questions. Ravi, Afzal, Anil, Apurva, Dori, Harish, Monica, Shailaja, Sri Reddy, Shrikant,
Yeah, I'm good, Manoj.
Sumit.
I'm good, Manoj.
Yeah,
Thank
Sumit Shukla, Shakir.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All
Thank you.
right.
Yeah, Manoj. Hello, this is Shakir.
Yeah.
How can we close our earlier account? Like I created 1 year back, but I have not utilized that.
Just leave it and create a new one. Simple.